Patty Ann, Sherry Miller, good to see you. Elby Lynn, good to see you. Leo Dempsey, keep the faith. Good morning. Hey, Coffee Jimmy. Dee, how are you? Good to see you. Cully, good to see you. Please go ahead and, if you will, just go ahead and share. Renee, good to see you. Let me get Cloud Hub up and going. All right, let me tweet out into the Twitter sphere. And then we'll get started. And let me also invite Cloud Hub people. Cloud Hub people, hey, Grateful Mike, good to see you. All right. There we go. Good, good, good. Hope everybody had a great day yesterday. All right. Let's see. Good morning, Paula. Good to see you. All right, let me go ahead and read a little bit of Psalm 138, and then we'll get started. I will praise you with my whole heart before the gods. I will sing praises to you. I will worship toward your holy temple and praise your name for your loving kindness and your truth, for you have magnified your word above all your name. In the day when I cried out, you answered me and made me bold with strength in my soul. Hey, Jenna, good to see you. All right. A lot of news, a lot of breaking news. Okay, so you probably just saw that the Schumer is pandering. Yeah, well, I didn't even watch them. Hey, Ellie Mae. Let's see, the Supreme Court, our wonderful Supreme Court. Hello, Bonnie. Good to see you. Just ruled that this president, anyway, Haley, cannot rescind an executive order of a former president. That's what was decided today. Hey, Lori K. It was basically he was trying to rescind the order for DACA that Obama had put into place. And the reason that he was trying to do that is because he was trying to get Congress, the one that's supposed to enact legislation, trying to get them, so much for conservative judges, trying to get them to come up with legislation on DACA to approve it once and for all. Now, let me just tell you something. All Roberts said was that it was arbitrary and capricious that he was trying to get rid of it. He didn't rule on the merits. All he was saying was trying to get rid of that executive order was arbitrary and capricious. That's it. That's all he did. So the DACA order that's in place right now still stands. And you can tell that Roberts didn't want to get into any type of political hotbed for him. I'm Hispanic and I disapprove of this ruling. Well, Jenna, it is unconstitutional, is what it is. It usurps the president of his executive powers, is what it does. Everybody knows that, everybody knows it. But here's what Sotomayor said. You're going to love this. In her dissent, she said, says it wasn't just arbitrary and capricious, but also wrong. I would not so readily dismiss the allegation that an executive decision disproportionately harms the same racial group that the president branded as less desirable mere months earlier. That is a lie, a total lie put forth, hey Sally, put forth by Sotomayor on the Supreme Court. Being a political hack that she is, here she is as the Supreme Court justice coming out and making accusations like that and spreading them as though they were true and not false as they are. Unbelievable. But the pandering is more than sick, Gina. Hey, Robin, could you check and see if YouTube is up? For some reason, YouTube is having a lot of issues kind of connect, which is really strange, but it's been acting weird for the last couple days. All right. Now let me just make another announcement. I've told you guys for so long, you need to get on Cloud Hub, right? Oh, okay. Cloud Hub's up. Good. You need to get on Cloud Hub. I keep saying it over and over. So big announcement yesterday. Katrina Pearson, who is the senior advisor to the Trump campaign, Trump 2020, has joined Cloud Hub, and she's now a senior executive advisor. So Katrina Pearson is now on Cloud Hub. So get on Cloud Hub. There's going to be, if Katrina Pearson comes on Cloud Hub and joins in CloutHub, you know that people will follow her and big names will follow her. Maybe the president will someday follow her. Wouldn't that be great? Get him on CloutHub too. At least get him on CloutHub. Now, the other night, CloutHub, during the middle of the night, Google took them out of their Play Store. So you couldn't go there if you had Android and try to upload CloutHub as an app. Now, you can do it straight from the CloutHub website, so you don't have to go to the Google Play Store. But don't you find that interesting that at the same day they tried to demonetize the Federalist, according to the Federalist, they also at the same time took CloutHub out of its Google Play Store for absolutely no reason. So I find that very suspicious. I find that ridiculous. And it just goes to show you what they're doing. And Bongino and Nunez are both pushing Parler. Yeah, it's too bad, Public Ed, because I think in the beginning, the rumor was that President Trump was going to go to Parler. I don't know that was ever even true, but that has not come to fruition. And it doesn't appear that is going to happen. I don't like Parler myself. I'm on Parler. I find it very hard to communicate with anybody and see who's there and all that. I don't like it. I do like CloutHub because look at that. You have 3 platforms where you can go and spread your message. You can have groups on CloutHub. And just like this on CloutHub right now at clouthub.com/Susan Knowles, I can stream out from CloutHub right now, which doesn't make me dependent upon Periscope or YouTube or other people who are trying to censor me. CloutHub does not censor. So go there today and check it out, clouthub.com, or just download the CloutHub app, CLOUTHUB, and check it out. I find that it's good. I find that it's less hostile than what we come up against on Twitter. So please check it out. Tell your friends. There was another 1.5 million that filed for unemployment. And yesterday was my day off. I went to a lake in San Diego that we've gone to quite a bit. And the parking lot was jammed packed with people, which says to me on a Wednesday, people aren't working. They're still not back to work because everybody was there at the lake. It looked like Saturday. And I walked 5.5 miles yesterday, which was really great, but I did not expect to see all of those people, at the lake. It really was shocking. So anyway, and I think a lot of these people, some of these 1.5 million, either their businesses are gone. Hey, Kim, or they don't want to go back to work. They said Trump can come back and present a different argument on the DACA. It isn't over. Yeah, Colt. They didn't go to the merits of the case. All it was what he came up with for trying to get rid of it was arbitrary and capricious. Gas prices went up. Regina's at. Clarence Thomas needs to be Chief Justice. He's really the only one that follows the Constitution. Brian, you know why? Because he's a true conservative. Roberts, not so much. Well, not so much at all. And then Gorsuch, he's going to turn out to be like Kennedy, Anthony Kennedy. But Anthony Kennedy from the very beginning was deemed a moderate. So I don't know what's happened to Gorsuch, but what's happened to the world, right? What's happened to the country? So I think it's more a representation of what's happened to the country. Pennsylvania Governor Wolf declared Juneteenth as a state holiday with the stroke of a pen. Wow. Gas prices are going up because the stations see the price of oil go up and they raised it. Gorsuch is very disappointing, Ellie Mae said. Good morning, Karen. Good to see you. Yeah, Gorsuch has been a big disappointment. Total disappointment. And then there's a trending on Twitter right now is Geraldo, who basically said, when was the last time a fleeing white guy got shot in the back? So I guess Geraldo and Dan Bongino are having this little tiff back and forth. And I guess this is the round that was fired by Geraldo. Geraldo is full of it, but he's been full of it, most of his career, Linda. So that's not anything surprising. you know, when you make statements like that, if you go look it up and see how many white guys were shot in the back, you'll probably find a lot of them that were shot in the back. So for Geraldo to make stuff up, you know, we should be seeing the price lower. It takes 4 months to process and to the stations, Colt said. Yeah, you won't see it that much lower in California. Right now, you guys across the nation have like $1.40, whatever, for gas. Our cheapest right now is $2.99 for gas. I'm surprised it hit the $2 range, even if it is $2.99. It's shocking to see that. Our prices never go down. Ridiculous. Okay. So what did everybody think yesterday about the Atlanta DA and the charges brought against the man who's accused of killing Mr. Brooks? Any comments on that? Any comments at all? They are bogus, Colt said. Insane. Yep. Good morning, Stephanie Crow. You are late, girlfriend. But I'm glad you're here, even though you're 10 minutes late. Only 10 minutes. Yeah, outrageous, Ellie Mae said. So, as I think mass exodus from the police department, I know, Trek, I would be leaving my job there. A little harsh, Renee said. I'm wondering if they are going to release the cops from 2 weeks ago. White guys get shot in the front to confront problems. Blacks in the back from running, BC said. It ticks me off, Ken said. The DA is playing politics. He should be removed from the case immediately. Trump just tweeted horrible and political decisions. Or I am waiting for the lawsuits. He didn't even wait to consult with Georgia Bureau of Investigation to finish the investigation. Well, why should he, Linda? He was all, you know, it was so obvious that he wanted to try this case in the public forum. Dropped my truck at mechanic this morning, Stephanie said. Karen said it was crazy. Yep, North Carolina looking to hold law enforcement legal up to $25,000, which they have to pay personally. Ridiculous. Yep, and didn't wait for the grand jury. He also said, do you get the impression they don't like him? Yeah, Gina, just a little bit, right? That officer is their sacrificial lamb. Those charges won't stick. Yep, media is censoring the news of Atlanta police walkouts. They sure are, Rainbow Churl. He is up for election, so he's losing in the votes. Yeah, well, let's talk about that. All right, first off, I don't even know where to begin. This is so ridiculous. I don't even know where to begin. When you have a good case, you go with your best charge, and then the DA totally glued and should be disbarred. Soulman said. So when you go with your strongest charge, right? Charging this guy with felony murder is just, for me as a former practicing attorney, it's laughable. Here's what a typical felony murder charge would be. Let's say, for example, some guy's robbing the bank and you drove him there knowing that he's robbing the bank. During this robbing of the bank, which is a felony, the guy in the bank shoots and kills someone. The guy in the car is going to be charged with felony murder because even though he didn't pull the trigger and even though he wasn't even in the bank, he knew and was part of the whole process of the robbing of the bank. That's kind of what felony murder is. So it doesn't really fit here in any way. Also, when the DA, when the DA was talking about when Mr. Brooks turned around and fired the taser, he goes, look here, it went over here and it went over here. It didn't even go near the police officer. So now, with the DA's logic, when somebody is firing a taser at you or whatever, it depends on where it goes, whether or not you can protect yourself. That was laughable. So if a bullet comes at you and you're a cop, but one goes over here and happens to go over your head over there, you know, no reason to fire because the bullet didn't even come near you. His partner's no, that's not true, Renee, and I'll tell you in a minute. The police ducked his head because it was pointed at his head. Well, Colt, everybody knows, including the DA, who about last week, I think it was, said that a taser is considered a deadly weapon. Now, the argument will be from the DA, and it was yesterday kind of, that the the taser had already been fired, right? So there were no rounds left in the taser. And that's going to be what a jury, if it goes to trial, that's what they're going to be looking at. Was he justified in firing those shots, the officer, at Brooks after the taser had been fired? No, I know it was fired, Colt. I know it was fired. There's no question that it was fired. Nobody's saying that it wasn't fired. I am saying that the DA is going to say there were no rounds, for example, left in the taser, and therefore it was no longer a deadly weapon. That's going to be the argument. Hey, Barbara, just last week, yes, Susan, they said taser was a deadly weapon. Yeah. Now, the other thing that is, you can tell this was all political and all done for the camera, because he did not offer any information from the officer at all. And we found out, this came out with the president last night when he was on Sean Hannity, and I've read it again today, that the attorney for the officer who fired the taser and fired the weapon, his weapon, he said that he saw flashes, and he said, somebody took a picture. You want to take it again? There you go. He saw flashes, and he thought he heard gunfire. Now, we didn't hear that from anybody else in the news until the president said last night that he heard that from the officer's attorney. So when the DA came out and gave his case, he didn't want to say anything else that would show that the police officer believed his life was in danger. Now, here's the downside. I'm arguing these points because I'm telling you, it doesn't mean that I'm in favor of one party or the other. I'm telling you what a court of law is going to look at, and I'm going to argue the points for you so that you will know what's coming, right? I'm not saying just because I argue the points doesn't mean that I'm for one side or the other. Yeah, there are flashes. You can see it very clearly that there are flashes. And DA I'll get to that in a second, Cully, if I can just get the rest of the thoughts out. So the DA gave no hint that there was anything that would say that the guy wasn't the officer feared for his life. Now, people like Stacey Abrams and there's one other black athlete that I read, they're both saying that he was already frisked, and so the cops knew he didn't have a weapon. I don't know how much of that is true. I didn't see the frisk take place. I don't know if they, went down and felt down his leg and felt if he had a gun. I don't know how thorough of a job they did around his waistband or whatever. So that's going to be, no, Kat, Stacey Abrams thinks that she is your governor. So that's going to be another bone of contention. Was he frisked? Was the officer, did he know there was no weapon on him? Or did they not frisk him thoroughly? And there could possibly have been a weapon on him that he was pulling out and using on the officer. All of that's going to come out in trial. I think they have a very, very horrible case to try to prosecute this cop on. And also, when they said last night, when the DA said this, that other officer is going to basically turn state's evidence or whatever, the attorney for that officer said, shame on the DA. That is not true. BC, but if you don't have, if your taser is out of fire and there's nothing left in it, it's not going to cause you any harm. If you know that, right? Okay, so let me see what he said here. I want to get his exact words. He said, Devin is cooperating with the Fulton County District Attorney's investigation. He met with the Assistant District Attorney and investigator yesterday and answered the questions. He turned over his phone. He's in the process of providing medical records and photographs of his injuries. He has not agreed to be a state's witness or to testify in any court hearing or to plead guilty to any charge. The decision to initiate charges by the Fulton County DA's office is irrational and obviously based on factors which should have nothing to do with proper administration of justice. He said this, he said this was not a rush to judgment. This was a rush to misjudgment. Shame on the district attorney for his abuse of his charging power. Shame on the district attorney for not honoring his oath to uphold the Constitution. Shame on the district attorney for his rush to misjudgment. So, and again, you know, recently the DA himself, mob justice, Rocky, is what people these days are looking at. They don't want to listen to facts. They don't want to know the truth. They don't care about the truth. And I saw somebody say, well, he got shot in the back. Well, if you're shooting at somebody like this, right, kind of over your back, you're going to get shot in the back. And I did see a part of the video where his arm is pointed back towards the officer, but his back is kind of facing the officer. Why are you so scared of the justice system? Upset? I'm not scared of the justice system at all. I don't understand why you're scared of the justice system. Well, after he resists arrest, punched the officer, threw both officers around like rag dolls, then aims and fires officers on taser at home. Officer was in fear of his life. Well, Stephanie Crow, yes and no. Technically, yes, but not really. Because the argument is going to be, again, if a guy is running away and has emptied his taser, what threat is he to anybody at that point? And because you don't go back and look at, well, he punched the officer, and well, he did this, and well, he did that. It's like at the moment you shot him, what was the officer's frame of mind? Was it reasonable? You know, was the guy a threat and all that stuff? Good morning, Gay. How are you? And what they're going to have to do, and I would ask for a change of venue. He fired the taser. It was empty, right? There's only two rounds in that taser. I would ask for a change of venue. The cop kicked him on the ground. That has nothing to, that's after the fact. That has nothing to do with anything. That doesn't have to do anything with murder because he didn't kill him by kicking him. It would go towards misdemeanor, aggravated assault, something like that. The taser can work after being fired. It then becomes a stun gun. Yeah, but not 18 feet away, Alan. Any object can be used as a weapon. That's true. But there's no castle law in effect for police officers. That goes to his mind. 2 rounds means he had 1. Video shows it fired. Police officer is not guilty. The video shows it fired. Patty Ann, nobody's arguing that it didn't fire. That's not the point. It's disrespectful to kick a dead dude. Well, Sunshine, it's ridiculous. I don't know why he did it. And I don't really know if he did kick the guy or not. How do we know that's true? We don't know. Atlanta and the DA's office has 2 huge lawsuits coming to them. Yeah, so you will never get a fair trial in Atlanta. No, you have to change your venue, Chicago Pops. We're heading to have Nerf police, Nerf baton, Nerf gun. Yeah, that's where we're headed. Now, listen to this DA, okay? Hey, Bill, good morning. They still doesn't equal felony murder. Well, no, it doesn't. And felony murder, again, is not the right thing to, is not the right charge anyway. All right. A second female employee has filed a lawsuit accusing Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard, that's the guy that you saw yesterday, of sexual harassment, claiming she was marginalized and threatened with termination after she did not succumb to his advances. Tisa Grimes, the DA's former human resources director, claimed Howard made multiple off-color remarks, repeated solicitations for sex, and eventually groped her shortly after she was hired in 2018, according to the lawsuit. You're from Japan? Good morning, ABC. The suit contends that Grimes repeatedly rejected Howard's advances and avoided being alone with him whenever possible. She's represented by Mario Williams of Atlanta's Williams, whatever firm. Williams also represents another woman, former aide Kathy Carter, who made similar harassment claims against Howard in a federal lawsuit filed last month. Carter also claims the DA relentlessly pursued her, combining promises of better paying positions and legal help for her son, who has a history of arrests and convictions. Now, listen to that double whammy if this is true. Not only was he, illegally, allegedly pursuing a woman, sexually harassing her on the job, but said, if you have sex with me, etc., then I will help your son who has a history of arrests and convictions. Can you believe this? I mean, this is supposed to be the DA, who is supposed to be the one who upholds the law and prosecutes and all that. Oh my gosh. Let's see. With the help her with her son with the threat of disciplinary action in order to secure sexual favors. Both women are single mothers whom Grimes' suit suggests were particular targets of the DA. Oh my goodness. If that's true, say goodbye to Mr. DA. Hey, Northwester. Harris? I don't know who Harris. What are you talking about? I hope the DA has a karma bite him big time. Wow, what a POS. Colt said, yep, if true, it is. Totally is. Hey, Solitary, good to see you. Hey, Danielle. He sounds like a Bill Clinton. Yeah, he sounds like a loser, if true. Hey, Aussie Nick, good to see you. So, but we know from yesterday alone, just in what the DA did was absolutely the most ridiculous thing that any DA could do. And that DA, he should, I don't know, somebody should report him to the bar, not that the bar can't see for themselves, like calling the kettle black. Oops, no politically correct. No wonder Biden supports him. Yeah, well, no wonder. So I don't know. I mean, such a travesty of justice all the way around. If the Atlanta Police Department is walking out, I hope they do. I support them in that. You have to do that in order to allow people to see the lawlessness. Makes me happy I live in a small town right now, Stephanie said. Let Atlanta go. Let the police department walk out and let them go. You know what's going to happen? They'll have to call the National Guard. You know what's going to happen? Curfews. You know what's going to happen with that? You're going to have a lot of riots, a lot of bad things happening. But you know what? You brought that on yourself. Corona is going to turn into the blue flu. Yeah. Add that, maybe get unemployment. I heard they walked out. They have family there, and 4 districts didn't have staff last night. Well, too bad, Colt, right? Watch Biden live. Dan already said we support the walkout. Oh, absolutely. You want to walk out? I am right behind you. You want to walk out everywhere where police are being insulted, disrespected, brought up on charges just because you feel like it, and just because you feel like, oh, well, you know what? I have the right to do this because I say so. Nope. Whoops, wrong. D-City, Democrat City sex corruption scandal. I know, Northwester. Get your sex scandals correct in the Democrat cities. It's not like Atlanta hasn't been burned down before, Kat said. So, I mean, these people who are lawless are going to find out what lawlessness looks like. I was watching this woman yesterday. I guess she was in a protest. And a Black Lives Matter protest, because Black Lives, what do we want? Dead cops, when do we want them now? You remember those people? Remember that chant? That's Black Lives Matter. Hey, Noelle, her baby started choking, and guess what she did? What do you imagine she did at a Black Lives Matter rally when her baby was choking? Anybody? Anybody got an idea? This is exactly why we need to be able to exercise our Second Amendment rights. Thank God I'm prepared. Yep, she went right to the police, went right to the officer. Why didn't you go to the Black Lives Matter people? Why wouldn't you do that? Why did you go to the police? Because they don't like Black people. Remember? Called for medic. No, she went right to the police. And guess what? Police saved her baby's life. Yep, that's right. So there you go. So all police are bad, right? Yeah, right. It makes you want to scream. Now, a Black sheriff, Sheriff Alonzo Williams, he said, having 30 years in the business, police and law enforcement, and 27 of those years having taught use of force and taught hundreds and hundreds of law enforcement officers across the state of Georgia and other states, I just think that he's a lawyer, meaning the DA. He's not a law enforcement officer. I think it's just a ridiculous statement. So you're going to have, if this goes to trial, you're going to have people who come in, experts who come in. Yes, horrible from SCOTUS, but we've grown to expect that. You're going to have experts come in who's going to say, how would a reasonable police officer in that police officer's situation, how would they have reacted? And again, you're going to get statements from the officer saying that he saw flashes, which you can see in the video, and saying that he thought he heard gunfire. So, you know, when you're in the heat of the moment like that, it's so easy later on to say, oh, well, I would have done this and I would have done that. As I've said before, I went through the police academy. We were put through situations for, extreme anxiety. We had arrest and control. We had where we were fighting each other. We had shooting at the gun range where one instructor would get in this ear and scream at you. One instructor would get in this ear and scream at you. And you had to continue to focus on your target and fire and hit the target and move from target to target with somebody screaming in your ear the whole time. We also had to go through a training where we were taught, look at this situation. What do you do? And you're standing there and it's a video and you have to decide whether to draw your weapon and fire on this person or not. It's so easy to say, well, I would have done something else. My police district never know anything and I rude overall, but my old district is the total opposite. Well, again, police officers, they're good and bad in every profession that there are, period. So right now, police are under attack. Why? Because this is what Antifa wants. This is what BLM wants. This is what has been the agenda forever. Let's get rid of the police. I mean, look at what's going on in Seattle right now. You have the mayor of Seattle agreeing with those people who have taken over, was 6 city streets, city blocks. Now I guess it's down to 3. And what is she doing? She's going out and agreeing to remove the barriers and put concrete barriers there for them and calling it a summer of love. What lawlessness. I mean, I don't understand. Well, I do. I'll take that back. The people who are there in Seattle should remove the mayor immediately and their governor. BLM was chanting, BLM matter, cops' lives don't matter. Yeah, they chanted anything anti-cop that you can imagine. God help the people who live in Seattle. Yeah, how beautiful, right? Shouldn't have had her child at a protest either. I see people taking their children should be counted as child endangerment. Yeah. Well, Stephanie, especially at a riot, more so even than a protest. I mean, how ridiculous is that? Let me read to you. I have no idea whether this is real or not. Meaning that this was put on Facebook by a guy that I know. And he pretty much usually looks at things to see if they're true or not. But let me read this to you. This is purportedly from a Seattle police officer. Here's what it says. Hey guys, I have a little downtime, so here's an update on things here. Absolute madness here. Can't even express it all. Day 12 for us, and our mayor and chief abandoned a major precinct and gave it to the anarchists. Unthinkable. 9 blocks of our city under the complete control of these terrorists. No joke. This is unreal. No police, no fire department, no sanity allowed in. They have an armed force patrolling, manning checkpoints, and stopping cars and citizens at gunpoint. They are creating a currency, an ID system, a supply system that includes food, water, ammo, and chemical weapons. They have access to the precinct and have made it to their headquarters. Our leaders are completely silent, and the city council is completely complicit. Yes, they have been on the front lines with the anarchists. And yes, last night, one council member led about 200 into City Hall. The warlord in charge of the new Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone drives a Tesla and has been arrested for drugs, guns, pimping, and crimes against children, and is on a federal child porn watch list. He carries an AK-47 and has already started abusing people inside. What the F? You can't make this up. We have been castrated. There is no recovering from this. We can't go near the zone and have been warned by our department to stay away. We are only working for each other now. We have been in battles where they psychopaths have hit us with rocks, cinder blocks, homemade napalm, and even IEDs. Multiple injuries, and then we gave up the precinct. Now the guns are out. The city can burn. I'm working on my exit plan now. The city and state hates us and gives us no support. In fact, the leaders are actively supporting this very real insurgency. Yet all you hear in the media is that they are merely peaceful protesters. This is real. There is a part of our country that is no longer under our control. People need to know this is not about race. It's about control. Share it, but don't say my name. If any of that is true, how despicable. And that's the United States of America. Linda said, crushed them. Stephanie said, if I were a Leo, I'd walk out. Yep. This does not sound like America anymore, Ellie Mae said. It doesn't. It doesn't. And it doesn't look like America. We don't have barricaded cities. Okay, I think it's past the halftime. Let me go ahead and share if you will, and then we'll go on to the stuff. This is, it's alarming. I mean, this is something that even, 6 months ago, we would never see. 6 months ago. Think about that. Think about how rapidly our world is changing. It's crazy. This gave a small nuke. I mean, it's crazy. Crazy. A blessed morning to you. I love you, Sue. My Gracie. So sad. I know, Josette. It is. Police are our friends. Yeah, they are. But, you can see, somebody said, well, why don't they just let BLM take over and the police can just go home? They are a Moab. Yep. And you know what? That's exactly what Black Lives Matter and Antifa want. They do want to take over. I'm outside Atlanta. A cop told me yesterday to carry my gun everywhere, Kat said. Wow. Whew. And here we are. This is the United States where we should feel, safe. And we obviously don't. What is the current call-in sick rate of police departments today? The feds should have gone in before the guns came out. Well, the feds can't go in when you have states' rights. You can go in as the feds if it interferes with interstate commerce and things like that. It's not doing that. And everybody keeps looking for the feds to do something when it's the states' rights pursuant to the Constitution. And also you have to wait for them to do something. And then if they don't, then you're talking about looking at the Insurrection Act, which everybody is saying, oh, he can't do, which he can. The president can do that, but that's where it goes. It goes to the governors to call in the National Guard and the police. Mother of all bombs, Lonesome Dove said. If we lose the presidency and Senate, America will change to a socialist country. I say Chicago Pops will go to a communist country. Very few black people in Chaz, Barbara said. Minneapolis has large Muslim population and Ilham at the helm. Rocky said, remove that mayor ASAP. This is how a few can dictate to the many. If no cops, more criminals will get shot. Well, all it is just mayhem. And that is what is intended, is just to have mayhem, to have chaos, to have blacks fighting against whites. That's exactly what they want, because that's how they stay in control. Meaning the elitists and globalists and the liberal Democrats. Small town in Ohio, 700 armed patriots stopped 80 protests successfully. Yeah. People are having to step up and be their own police force. And it shouldn't have to be that way. Every business in the Caribbean wants to take down, my country in the Caribbean wants to take down the Columbus statues we have, and some agree with Black Lives Matter. It's disgusting. Yeah. Well, and talking about that, I wrote an article today at SusanKnowles.com, and it's about, cancel culture just killed Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben's. Who's next? Cream of wheat chef. And if you go and you take a look at that article, and I won't go over it now, but every one of those people are real people. They represent real people. Aunt Jemima was actually born a slave, and she used she was paid for her, her likeness. And she went on to to do great work with her notoriety. Daffy Duck, yeah, poor Daffy. And you look at Uncle Ben. Who was Uncle Ben? He was a guy that everybody knew around the Houston area as being someone who was great at what he did. And some guy tried to say, well, but he called him uncle. And that's because, that's the Southern term for, a slave or a servant. You know what? Only Black people that I've heard really call people Uncle Tom. So if you're going to get rid of Uncle Ben, why not let's get rid of Uncle Tom? And you're the one saying it. So stop calling people Uncle Tom. Hey, Mrs. Green Thumb, how are you? Columbus was pulled down. Lonesome Dove said, I guess they will be demanding reruns of Little Rascals stop being shown. Sure. Nudity Live, nice meeting you and everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Green Thumb. We're on every day except Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're on Periscope, Cloud Hub, YouTube, Facebook, and D Live. Hey, Noella, good to see you. So, and also the chef, which they haven't talked about yet, that's the trademark of Nabisco for cream of wheat. That guy was actually a waiter or a chef. And the guy wanted his likeness because he thought he was like a very wholesome, clean-cut looking young man that at the time was great for the cereal, the cream of wheat cereal industry and all that. And yet the Blacks are the ones using the N-word. Yes, Lee, they are. I mean, really, who wouldn't want an aunt or uncle cooking for you? Well, especially somebody with a reputation of a guy who was an expert with rice. How's the Paw Patrol band going? Oh, I don't know. So, but if you go there and you read my article, it will tell you who these people are, how great these people are, and how now they have, their own people, their own Black people are, I know the satire Babylon Bee said no more Cracker Jacks. But how these people are real people and how they are the Black history leaders, really. And now the BLM, the Blacks in the BLM, I guess, are dismissing the history of the Black people who did really good things. But they're going to just take them down because they think Aunt Jemima's bad. They think Uncle Ben's bad and anything else. So what is the main subject about racism? No, it's about everything. Miss Green Thumb, we've talked about everything so far. I really don't understand the band since they are really people. Well, but Ellie Mae, they don't know they're really people. Hey, Colt, sorry I had to step away. Glad you're back. They don't know they're really people. I think they just look at it and go, oh, that's a Black woman on a syrup bottle. She looks like a slave, so let's get rid of it. Why don't you go behind the scenes, do some research, I know, and find out who Aunt Jemima really was. Her name was Nancy Green. And again, she did great works because of the fact that she was on that syrup bottle, because of the fact she gained notoriety. She was able to help the poor. She was able to start, one of the people that started the Olivet Baptist Church. She did a lot of things, but nobody wants to go there and do that. She was the first Black millionaire in this country, Colt said. But see, you can't, nobody wants to take time for that. Oh, this is part of history. Well, Mrs. Green Thumb, a lot of people don't even know that. A palette of emptiness, Lonesome Dove said. We're going to be a blank raw society, nothing to represent our history, Lonesome Dove said. And the thing of it is, it's like, just because you get rid of that part of history that you don't like, doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And why not talk about the history? I found out some things, in my own state. I grew up in North Carolina. I found out some things about Black history because I was researching stuff that I didn't even know before that is so interesting and so great for Black people, but nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. There was a group of people in this certain neighborhood. They were all Black people. And before they felt that desegregation ruined everything for them, when they were in this place by themselves, this was supposedly a thriving community. They had Black actors and dancers and singers that would come there. They had Black dentists. They had Black businesses were just booming in this one neighborhood, and they loved it. And when I left, I don't know when they tore down that whole section, but when I was a kid and going through there, it was nothing but a slum, nothing but a slum. And it was horrible to go and look at the history, find out what it was like, find out how successful the Black people had been, and then desegregation convinced them to leave and to, not take care of their neighborhood anymore, just to leave. And people left. It was like they went to other places, not saying that they shouldn't have or whatever, but it was totally destroyed everything. Bonnie said spiritual warfare is chaos. That is what we are up against. Absolutely, Bonnie. Absolutely. Welcome to the great white canvas of the USA. Yeah, isn't that Lissom Dove kind of the opposite of what Black Lives Matter wants? But anyway, I think sometimes if you go and you look at the history of stuff, rather just assuming that you know about what it is, you'll find out a lot of stuff that you never knew before. All right, we have more that we could talk about, but we don't have the time. This is the time when we do our Bible reading, our public Bible reading, while we still, as Christians, we're being persecuted in America. Not like they are in other countries, but we are being persecuted. We're being silenced. We're being told that what we believe is needs to be gotten rid of. Funny, the first Black senators, guess what? They are Republicans. Exactly, Cole. Take anything that represents what you are. The ISIS did the same thing in the mountains. Yep, exactly. All right. Let's start. I don't remember exactly where I was. I should remember this, but I don't. Let me just start in John chapter 10. Did you see the Walmart church service? No, but remember, I suggested that. I suggested we should have church in Walmart because they weren't allowing churches to open back up. Who are the they people who are making these decisions? It's the young people. Do they even do the grocery shopping? Vicky said, no, not really. They did it. Yep. Good for them. Cully, if you have that on a video, please send that to me. DM me with that or something. I would love that. Okay. John chapter 10, Jesus, the true shepherd. Most assuredly, I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfold by the door, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. And when he brings out his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Yet they will by no means follow a stranger, but will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. Jesus used this illustration, but they did not understand the things which he spoke to them. Jesus, the good shepherd. Then Jesus said to them again, most assuredly I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. For all who ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. Let's see, make sure. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. But a hireling, he who is not the shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. And the wolf catches the sheep and scatters them. The hireling flees because he is a hireling and does not care about the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and am known by my own. As the Father knows me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they will hear my voice, and there will be one flock and one shepherd. Therefore my Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This command I have received from my Father. And again, this is one thing that we were talking about, is that we are all created by God. And those who have accepted Christ, we're all in the same family. We bleed the same color blood. And so this division is not a Christian biblical principled idea. It is the idea of the globalists and the elitists that have been using this for centuries. This is nothing new, but this is how they create chaos and keep us divided. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Therefore, there was a division again among the Jews because of this saying, and many of them said, he has a demon and is mad. Why do you listen to him? Others said, these are not the words of one who has a demon. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind? The shepherd knows his sheep. Now it was the feast of dedication in Jerusalem, and it was winter, and Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Then the Jews surrounded him and said to him, how long do you keep us in doubt? If you are the Christ, tell us plainly. Jesus answered them, I told you, and you do not believe. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But you do not believe because you are not of my sheep, as I said to you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. Never shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. Renewed efforts to stone Jesus. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. Jesus answered them, many good works I have shown you from my Father. For which of these works do you stone me? The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we do not stone you, but for blasphemy, and because you, being a man, make yourself God. Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law, I said, you are gods? If he called them gods to whom the word of God came, and the scripture cannot be broken, do you say of him whom the Father sanctified and sent into the world, you are blaspheming because I said I am the Son of God? If I do not do the works of my Father, do not believe me. But if I do, though you do not believe me, believe the works that you may know and believe that the Father is of me and I in him. Therefore they sought again to seize him, but he escaped out of their hand. The believers beyond Jordan. And he went away again beyond the Jordan to the place where John was baptizing at first, and there he stayed. Then many came to him and said, John performed no sign, but all the things that John spoke about this man were true, and many believed in him there. The death of Lazarus, chapter 11. Now a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary, and her sister Martha. It was that Mary who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil, and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore the sisters sent to him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her son and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. Then after this he said to the disciples, let us go to Judea again. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, lately the Jews sought to stone you, and are you going there again? Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble because he sees the light of this world. But if one walks in the night, he stumbles because the light is not in him. These things he said, and after that he said to them, our friend Lazarus sleeps, but I go that I may wake him up. Then his disciples said, Lord, if he sleeps, he will get well. However, Jesus spoke of his death, but they thought that he was speaking about taking rest and sleep. Then Jesus said to them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, that you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go to him. Then Thomas, who is called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, let us also go, that we may die with him. I am the resurrection and the life. So when Jesus came, he found that he had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had joined the women around Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Now Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, Though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who has come into the world. Woo! I love it. I love it. You see what time it is? Okay. One more section. Jesus and death, the last enemy. And when she said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary, her sister, saying, The teacher has come and is calling for you. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. Then the Jews who were with her in the house and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, She is going to the tomb to weep there. Then when Mary came where Jesus, what was it? Okay. Then Mary came where Jesus was and saw him. She fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And he said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, See how he loved him. And some of them said, Could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? All right, we'll pick that up tomorrow. Reading this sometimes, no matter how many times you read it, it's amazing sometimes that you can read it. It gives you chills, because the times that I think that we find ourselves in, everything is becoming so real. And so it's just like we're living in those times that Jesus is talking about, and it just, the Bible has always been alive. The words have always been alive and a living Bible, but we're actually, I think for a lot of us, myself, I can speak for, we're actually seeing those things. We're feeling them for the first time. We understand exactly, what they mean because we're seeing it. If we didn't understand it before, we're understanding it now. So it's all amazing. God's amazing. Great. Such comfort now. Yes, Ellie Mae. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, again, we talk about this all the time. Things that we're seeing in the news, things that we're hearing all the time. Keep looking up. Your redemption draws near. Thank you, Renee. And keep believing and focused on God. I keep watching a lot of pastors talking. I put my attention on that. I don't put although it seems like it, I don't put my full attention on the news. If you didn't see our God's views on political news, right now it's been viewed by 2,000 people at this point. We had a great discussion on all this stuff going on, where it's leading to and what it means and what Christians should do about all this. So you can check that out at cloudhub.com/Susan Knowles. Just look on the past shows that were there. You can see it there. You can see it at susanknowles.com. Just scroll down. You can get it. And other places. But YouTube, I had to put it up on YouTube. So if we believe God will save our great country, many blessings, everyone. Be safe. Thank you, Kim. So please, if you would, retweet this. And if you haven't had a chance, go to cloudhub.com. Please join up. As I said at the beginning, Katrina Pearson, the Trump 2020 campaign senior advisor, is now a senior executive advisor for cloudhub.com. She has joined CloudHub, which means that other people are going to follow. So get over there, get in on it, learn how to maneuver your way around CloudHub. It's really not hard. It's a lot like Facebook without the censorship, though. That's the difference. All right, everybody. God bless you. Please retweet this. And God willing, I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care, everybody. God bless. Thank you, everybody. God bless.